Hello and welcome to another amazing Read With Me session. I am Isabel Badell. Let me fix these eyebrows right quick. And I am here to read with you another episode, another chapter of You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. We are on chapter number 8. Chapter number 7 was really good. It has 5 different parts to it. I love when chapters do that. And what I really liked about it is that it talked about not only being authentic, in a way that it makes sense to you, but integrally that you're doing things based out of you. Like you created that, you trusted your intuition, you are creating value based on what is inherent to you and who you are as an individual, because she really honed in on the fact that we're all individual, we are all unique, we are created for a purpose and a reason, and there's no one else like you, which I 100% agree with. And what I love about it is that she's getting into more of like deeper emotional understanding. And this book, I do genuinely feel can help someone that is at the beginning of their journey, where they might not understand what's going on, to all the way being on the other spectrum of like, I've gone through so much and I've given so much of myself that I don't know where I'm at exactly. And I feel like this book really hones in on you, the individual. You are perfect. You are created uniquely divine and special to the world to really connect. So I value that a lot. So let's get into it. Chapter number 8. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Let's see. Okay? The big question is whether you're going to be able to say a hearty yes to your adventure. Joseph Campbell, American mythologist, author whose books/ideas influenced the making of Star Wars. Getting clear about what your unique purpose is can be the difference between living a happy, fulfilled life of abundance, choice, and expansiveness, or living in the restriction-veiled pen of your own indecision and tired old excuses. A gift, of course, is meant to be given, which is why it's so brutal that when we can't figure out what ours is, or when we know what it is, but we're too lame to act on it, here we have the perfect gift to share with the world, just bursting to be opened, and we keep it sitting there, wrapped tightly in a box, growing old and gathering dust. Oh, the waste, the agony. Meanwhile, the joy of giving someone the perfect gift is unparalleled. We all know how it feels, hopping back and forth from foot to foot, wringing our hands, practically peeing in our pants, begging them to open it. Open it already. Jesus. Here, let me freaking do it. The power of giving is so strong that the excitement and the good feelings are often greater for the giver than the receiver, which is why when you find your calling and you design your life in such a way that you can share your gifts with the world on a consistent basis, you feel like a rock star. When we share that what we were brought here to give, we are in alignment with our highest, most powerful selves. I love that. Most people, however, wander through their lives giving the tasteful candle version of their gifts. They don't show up to the party empty-handed or anything. They present their somewhat flaccid gift to the world, receive a warm hug and, oh, you shouldn't have, in return, but they don't knock it out the park. For example, they get a job doing something that they hate or that's a bit yawn, but is, okay, and affords them a life that covers the basics as long as they don't go too crazy. They do fun stuff, but not as much as they would like because they don't have that much money or the time or the belief that they deserve to. They have little victories here and there. They meet their sales quota and win the 6-day cruise to the Bahamas, or rack up enough miles to go and stay with their aunt and see the Olympics, or finally sit down and write an entire song that they may or may not ever record or perform, but they never truly go for it and create a life that really lights them up. They basically big snooze their lives away. Every single person is born with unique and valuable gifts to share with the world. Once we figure out what ours are and decide to live our lives, putting them to use, that's when and only when the real party begins. Living a life on purpose is available to everyone. So if you're struggling or settling or completely confused about what you're supposed to do with your life, know that the answer is already here. It exists. And so does the life you can't wait to create. You just need to get some clarity first. There are entire books written on finding your calling, some of the best of which I share in the resources section in the back of this book and on my website. But the following are a few of my favorite tips. Keep in mind that there's no right way to go about this. Everyone's journey is unique, but we're all trying to get to the same place, the place where we feel the happiest, the most alive, and the most like ourselves. Even if you've nailed the perfect career for yourself, read on, because these tips can help you in all areas of your life. How to get very clear on who you are and what your calling is. Number 1, be the alien. Interesting. Number 1, be the alien. And she has 8 of these little subsections. Number 1, be the alien. Imagine that you're an alien floating around in outer space and you suddenly swoop down to Earth and inhabit your own body. As the alien, everything about this life is new to you. You look around. What do you see? What is this person who you've inhibited so obviously awesome at? What do they have the most fun doing? What connections do they have? What resources and opportunities are available to them? As the alien to whom everything is new and exciting, and there's nothing at risk and no past to lug around, what are you going to do with this incredible new life that you've stepped into? How are you going to use this new body and this existence to create something fabulous and awesome starting right now? This exercise is hugely helpful for getting new perspective and stepping outside of our boring ass ruts of tired old excuses and lame habits. It can also be very useful in making you aware of all the staggering possibilities and resources that you have at your fingertips and take for granted or do not see. Sometimes it's as simple as looking at things with new eyes to see how astounding fortunate we are. Be the alien for 24 hours and see what you come up with. I love that. Take the first right step. Instead of wasting hours and days and years trying to figure out your next perfect move, just do something already. The time we waste rolling ideas around in our heads, imagining what ifs, coming up with perfect reasons why, and then perfect reasons why not, tearing at our cuticles, making our friends and families carefully screen their calls in case it's us again wanting to go over some ideas. Get out of your head and take action. You don't have to know exactly what is going on, what it's going to take you. You just need to start with one thing that feels right and keep following the right feeling things and see where they lead you. Most answers reveal themselves through the doing, not the thinking. I love that. When I discovered my calling as a coach, I was, ironically, in the midst of a lifelong obsession with figuring out what the hell my purpose was. While I always knew writing was part of it, I always knew I wasn't meant to spend my life locked away in a silent room alone and half crazed, wrestling words into submission. I wanted something. A, it involved interacting with other people, and then B, helping people in some sort of way, and then C, it was fun, and then D, it forced me to bathe, dress, and leave my house. That's about all I had to go on. That and my intense desire to figure it out. So when a friend told me I should check out a women's entrepreneurial think tank group that had just started up, I'd figured I'd go. We were all supposed to bring a project to work on, but I had nothing, just the hope that I'd get some ideas from something someone else brought to the table. And after sitting there for 4 weeks, watching this room full of women figure out what they love to do and turn their brilliant ideas into businesses or grow their businesses they already had, I still had no project of my own. But I did know what I wanted to do. I went up and asked the facilitator if she needed any help, which she did. She hired me and I started leading these groups, which after a few years led me to starting my own coaching practice, which then led me to working with clients all over the world, which then led me to sitting at the kitchen counter writing this book. No matter how clueless you might feel right now, pay attention to suggestions and opportunities that suddenly present themselves and notice how you feel. Is there something for you that, for whatever reason, feels like it might be good to check out? What have you been saying forever? What have you been saying forever that you'd love to do? That has someone mentioned a course or a teacher or a book that keeps sticking to your mind? Take the first steps in the direction towards something that feels right and see where it leads you, and do it now. Number 3, do your best wherever you're at. Once you take the first step, it's possible that you won't land in your dream situation right away. You might land on a stepping stone. It could be an awesome stepping stone, or it could be kind of an unpleasant stepping stone. But no matter where your first step lands you, if you want to keep moving forward, appreciate where you're at instead of feeling ashamed or grouchy or impatient about it. Everything you are doing along your journey contributes to where you're going. So let's just say that you've decided that you're going to go after your fantasy of being a rock star, and you take that job waiting tables so you have the flexibility to travel and play gigs and go on into the studio. Clearly, your calling is playing music, not being concerned that some whiny customer's French onion soup is allegedly too cold, but it's essential that you care anyway. Having a good attitude and being grateful for all the things that are helping you live the life of your dreams will not only make your life more pleasant place to be and get you bigger tips, but it will also raise your frequency and attract the people and opportunities to you that will take you in the right direction where you want to go. This is where really being present in the moment comes in handy. Granted, you may not be on stage in front of thousands doing a split in the air, but remember that you are going for it. You are bravely moving towards your dream. You are surrounded by unthinkable miracles and opportunities. So lean back, relax, and be grateful that you're living on purpose and that you're hanging out in a high frequency and that everything you need is zooming towards you. Don't reinvent the wheel. Look around you and see what other people are doing. Whose life makes you totally jealous? What things are people doing that you would love to do? Who do you think is the coolest person ever? You don't need to invent your ideal life from scratch. You just need to figure out what makes you feel alive. So, if what someone else is doing sparks your interest, take notice. It could mean that your calling has something in common with theirs. Get specific about the things in their lives that turns you on. Is it because they get to travel the world? Is it that they have a solid routine? Is it that they have no routine? Is it that they work alone? That they work in the nude? That they get to be outside all day? That they work with their hands, their eyes, their ears, animals, their spouse? The more specific you get, the easier it will be to create a picture of what you want. Read magazines that interest you. Talk to as many people as you can. Hang out in places where people who share your interests hang out, and put yourself out there. And you never know what you might learn that will inform your next move, or whom you might meet that will present you with the next opportunity. Number 5, don't get caught up in the thunderbolt hype. I think one of the most paralyzing misconceptions is that we're all supposed to have one true calling that comes to us in a mighty flash of soul-defining insight. While there are those people who've always known what they want to do, there are a hell of a lot more of us out there who spend most of their lives, if not their entire lives, wandering around looking under rocks behind trees for who we are. Let yourself off the hook if you don't have that one. Being perfect, being you, perfect thing that you know you came here to do. Same goes for finding that one big perfect soulmate, by the way. And feel good about the fact that you'll probably fulfill several callings throughout your life and possibly relationships. So if you think about it, it makes more sense to evolve as you age. Anyway, when I think about who I was in my 20s compared to who I am now, I can't imagine anything more unappealing than going after some of the things that resonated with me back then. Follow what feels good in the moment, every moment, and it will lead you through the most excellent life. Number 6, listen to your intuition. If you really want to get in touch with who you are and what you love to do and who you love to do it with, dedicate some time to tuning in to your intuition. One of the best ways to do it is to spend 5 minutes of quiet by yourself every day. We spend the vast majority of our time moving at full speed ahead, both physically and mentally, and we literally bulldoze over the very answers that we're seeking because they can't be heard above the din. When you sit quietly and ask, you get an answer eventually. So stick with it, be patient, and wait to hear from your inner guidance. You have all the answers that you need. You just need to give them the chance to get through to you. I like that. Follow your fantasies. Now that I've given you all the kinder, gentler ways to figure yourself out, I'm going to suggest something that you're probably not going to like so much. Jump in the deep and follow your fantasies. What do you fantasize about when you're staring out the window of a train, or before you go to sleep at night, or when you're pretending to listen to someone really boring talk your ear off? Are you on stage doing stand-up comedy in front of thousands of hysterical fans, or are you surrounded by beautiful children in the coziest, happiest home ever? Are you being celebrated for building orphanages around the world? Do this exercise as if money were not an issue. Tap into what brings you joy, great joy, instead of what you think you need to do to survive. If you had an unlimited supply of cash, what would you spend your life doing? Our fantasies are the most revealing peepholes into who we are and what we think is awesome. No matter how out there and ridiculous they may seem, they mean something to us and usually represent our biggest and best versions of ourselves. Our fantasies are our realities. Our fantasies are our realities in an excuse-free world. Meanwhile, we'd all be mortified if anyone could read our minds and catch us in the act. I know it's totally stupid and I want to sing on Broadway. Well, is it really stupid? Someone's out there doing it, so why couldn't I? Or why couldn't you? Much of the time we pretend we aren't clear on what our calling is, when what's really going on is that we're horrified to face it because it seems too big, too impossible to make a living, or completely out of our question for us. But what if you had the audacity to leave your excuses and your shame about wanting to be huge and famous behind and really went for it full on anyway? What if you decided to do the most outrageous, most exciting thing you've ever dared fantasize about, regardless of what anyone, including your terrified self, thought? Now that would be living. So love yourself. That's number 8. Love yourself like you're the only one. Like you're the only one there is. I like that. I love this quote. Our fantasies are our realities in an excuse-free world. I love that. And also I do really like about the don't reinvent the wheel and doing your best wherever you're at. I really, really enjoyed that because, there's so many voices out there, social media in particular. You see people, they might be younger than you, or they may be, in the same age group, or they look like you, they sound like you, you have commonalities, right? And they might appear more ahead of you, but in reality, they might not be. You might have the most awesome, family unit, but that other person might have the career and they might not have the family unit, and that's exactly what they desire, but you have it, and you might be desiring the career. So don't feel like the other person or whoever it is that you're looking at has it all. Like how she mentioned in the previous chapter, comparison is the number one killer of your hopes, your dreams, your ability to move forward and make something happen for yourself. So don't reinvent the wheel, okay? Go out there, talk to people, have an open mind. I like that. And also don't allow yourself to diminish your dreams. I think that's one of the most important things ever. So, yeah. I like that. And I love that. Love yourself. Okay? What did you find interesting about this chapter? I would love to hear your thoughts. And that was chapter number 8. Okay? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? That's chapter number 8. And now we're going to go into chapter number 9, the loincloth man. Loincloth man. That's going to be interesting. And it's a very short chapter, so I'll see you in the next video so we can get that in, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.